Welcome back to Tied Down TV, the punk rock opinion show with me, Geoff.
And Danny.
Today we're doing our top 5 Canadian punk and hardcore bands. It's just quite a rich history, Canada, hasn't it? Of some.
Well, first off, you've been to Canada.
A few times, and family over there.
Where have you been in Canada?
Been to Toronto a couple of times, and my granddad's sister lived in Victoria, which is a little island just off Vancouver. So I've been to Victoria, been to Vancouver. I've been up to Edmonton as well. We did a lot of travelling while we were there, but they were the main stops. But yeah, I think you'll probably remember, because when we were younger, I went to Toronto when we were in a band and stuff, and I came back with fucking loads of CDs. And when we did the books, when I talked about the bookstore in Toronto where I picked up like American hardcore, I think I got Lords of Chaos in there and stuff as well. But yeah, rich fucking history anyway of, you know, great, amazing punk bands, hardcore bands. Early ones like the Vile Tones, the Poles, bands like DOA, obviously, Youth, Young Lions, Subhumans, Dayglow Abortions, the BFGs, the Big Fucking Goof stuff, I think that stands for. But yeah, all those bands there, actually, I haven't picked any of them. No,
me either. Now, this is just my opinion, and I did a bit of a deep dive, just going on, reading up a bit of history and stuff, and it seems to be, in my opinion, and don't get me wrong, there's going to be Canadians who watch this, and because I know for a fact there is some, that you know, they're going to have far more their ear to the ground than we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
With their own countries, hardcore and punk bands and stuff. But it seems to me, from the outside looking in, that it seems to be a country where their hardcore bands they supersede their classic bands, in my opinion. I think what's going on there now, is amazing. They've got
unbelievable at the moment.
Yeah. And I think personally, I was never a big fan of DOA.
Okay.
And it's important that we speak about them, because
obviously,
generally, I mean, it's debatable, but it's generally accepted that Hardcore 81 was the album that gave the genre its name. Yeah. People might debate that, but you know, a lot of people agree.
It's generally recognised, isn't it? I think. I like that record. I like the first record as well, but I don't know much after that.
To me, I haven't heard much after that album, but I've got that album a couple of times. Actually, I've got a few copies of it, and to me, they just sound like a punk rock band to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not bad at all.
No.
It just wouldn't get on my list of top 5 Canadian hardcore punk bands.
It didn't get on mine. They didn't get on mine either.
Yeah. Same with Dayglow Abortions, actually, who I'm a bit more of a fan of.
Yeah, good band.
But they almost got on, but I just thought, you know what? There's too many bands from Canada who've affected me more than they have.
Yeah, that's fair. Like,
yeah,
definitely. And a couple of others who I'm a fan of as well. The Canadian Subhumans, I think, are amazing.
Yeah,
but didn't make it on my list.
I've got to say,
Youth are great as well.
Youth. Youth, right there.
Good record.
But I've got to say, not embarrassingly, but there's quite a few legendary bands and legendary records that I hadn't really listened to up until recently, because we were scheduled to do this video.
Yeah.
What we put it out on the socials like we often do, and one record that seems to have been coming up constantly, not just on what we've put, but I've seen it a lot, is Nomeansno and the album Wrong. Never give that, never listened to that in my life up until this week. Thought I've got to give this a go now, doing this video, and I can understand why you love it. That's all I'll say. I thought it was all right. It was probably not my thing.
No.
Always going to be his thing, though, for sure.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that was one that I hadn't listened to. What else was there? There was a couple more. SNFU as well. SNFU were a band I'd never really delved into, to be honest with you. And again, the first album, the earlier stuff, I seem to prefer more than when I listened to the later stuff, I was like, I'm not into this stuff.
It's not your thing.
Like, yeah.
But that's a band that I got into quite young. Definitely more up my street than yours, I'd say.
Were they on Epitaph?
They did release on Epitaph.
I was going to say, because I always remember them being associated with Epitaph, which is why I probably avoided them for years.
Even though they influenced all of those bands because they were around prior to them. But they ended up on Epitaph in the 90s,
Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of the bands I've picked, I'm not trying to be clever with some of the ones I've picked. These are generally some of the bands that have affected me most, like from Canada. And I know some of them get very little attention, or at least over on these shores.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be clever with my picks. These are just the ones that I like most. So, go ahead. Who's your first favourite top 5 punk band? One of your favourites?
So my first pick, I picked Propagandhi.
Of course you have.
Yeah, because most people who know me probably know they are one of my favourite bands. Very formative band for me. I love them. Incredible. They're introduced me to so much just by their lyrics. So they started in '86 by Chris and George. Chris, the vocalist and guitarist, and George, the drummer, coming together and doing a band. And Chris was always a metalhead. George was a punk. Chris wanted to do like thrash and stuff. Anyway, they ended up being like a punk band, playing in like the basements, DIY scenes, all that. Ended up, most people know, probably signed to Fat Wreck because they played with NoFX. Fat Mike gave them a record deal, and almost immediately they realised that this is not our thing. These aren't our people, and their sound obviously was very indicative of that Fat Record sound early on, that skate punk. In fact, I think Fat Mike actually told them that they are responsible for the sound, and Chris Hanna was not happy about that. But their politics, if you know them, they're very anti-homophobic, anti-sexist, anti-racist, and they said that the scene that was around all the Fat Wreck and Epitaph bands was very that surfer bro culture, and there was a lot of homophobia, a lot of sexism, and they weren't having it, and they fucking, quite often were confrontational. And anyway, their sound shifted, started on this record, which is my personal favourite, Today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes, and the one after it as well, Potemkin, City Limits, and they went very more influenced by thrash and a bit more proggy. And still going now, putting out this year, which I thought was still very good, still a very consistent band for me. One of my favourites. And
been into them for years, haven't you?
Yeah, since I was a kid, basically. Like they were anti-manifesto on the first Fat Wreck comp and stuff like that. Yeah, and yeah, still band that I listen to fairly regularly today. They were an easy choice for me with this.
Easy choice for me. My first one I'm going for is a no-brainer. I've gone No Warning. From Toronto.
Nice choice.
I think it's easy now to forget just how big of an impact. So when I first started going to shows, early 2000s, No Warning were a big name, very big name. I think, you know what, it reminded me similarly of the impact Trapped Under Ice had a few years later. But when I first came around, they were a big name, and I think it's easy now with the development of hardcore and where it went, the 10 years that followed. I think it's easy to forget how big of an impact Ill Blood had when it come out.
Yeah.
That album was huge. They were, it was massive. It was so influential. And I do think it changed. It did change the direction a lot of hardcore was going in at the time. A lot of bands seemed to get a lot more pissed off after that came out, and seemed to, even some of our bands over here, like Deal With It and Dirty Money, you can't tell me that they hadn't been listening to Ill Blood at the time. And I just think, we seen him, didn't we? He did like I guess it was kind of like a reunion tour.
Couple of months
ago, and he played in Manchester, and it was as violent as I was expecting it to be.
Great gig.
And the singer was selling the merch. They had the rep for being bad dickheads back in the day. I remember reading about it, and I met the singer. He was selling the merch, and he seemed a very nice guy, and that, a lot of good memories, nothing but good memories surrounding No Warning. Yeah. So unbelievable. Them first, the 7-inch.
Yeah.
And Ill Blood, they did go off the boil after that, didn't they? They released like a new metal kind of album. I think maybe they signed to a major, and they were the major was trying to get them to go down the Linkin Park route or something. But I think they quickly realised, shit, what have we done here? And but yeah, you can't deny the impact they had in the early 2000s.
Yeah, amazing band. Yeah. Cool. All right, second one for me. Danny mentioned them briefly at the beginning. I've got Nomeansno. Because, again, and when we put it out on the socials, I think this is arguably one of the most picked when people were listing their favourite Canadian bands. Unbelievable band. Now, I'm not well versed in their full discography. They've got like 10 albums.
Is that I take it that's not the first?
No, I think it's the third wrong.
Okay.
But this is obviously the classic. Danny mentioned it. Amazing. Fucking so good. So these are from Victoria, BC. I think they formed around 79. I think this is 89, I want to say, on Alternative Tentacles. But yeah, anyway, it's not straight up punk or hardcore. It's a bit experimental. It's a bit funky. A bit jazzy. I liken them a lot to the Minutemen, in that they're obviously very associated with the punk and hardcore scene. They played a lot of shows, same as the Minutemen. But obviously, again, the Minutemen are quite clearly influenced by funk and jazz and various other things. And you know, playing at the fast tempos. They're amazing lyrics, amazing music, catchy as fuck. I think a couple of them formed the Hanson Brothers, if you're familiar with them as well, who are a good Canadian band. Started as a Ramones cover band, I believe, but it's one of the I think one of the, like, a noise, if you go noise rock cross with punk, that's probably one of the best albums of the 80s, I think, hands down.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'd not listened to them till this week, despite seeing that album cover for years everywhere, like people going on about it. But yeah, definitely more his thing than mine. Not to say I thought it was, plainly did not. My next choice for my 5 favourite Canadian bands. My first 2 were no-brainers, by the way. So this one, like no warning, was a no-brainer. I've gone from, where are they from? They're from Hamilton. I've gone Chokehold. Chokehold was easy for me, being straight edge and being a fan of that sound, actually. That whole, like, they kind of came out around the same time as the hardline bands, like Statement and you know, bands like Raid and all them types of bands. But also, you know, there's the sound is, it's obvious why I would like Chokehold, because the sound, despite this band, I'm not sure being straight edge, I don't know if they ever were classed as a straight edge band, but the sound, I think, is very similar to Earth Mover, who are one of my all-time favourite hardcore bands. Yeah. But this is a CD that's been in my possession for a lot of years. I picked this up on holiday at a record store, and I believe this is a compilation of the first album and the first couple of EPs right here. And it's just the sound is just right up my street. It's just a self-titled thing. But this is the Prison of Hope actual album here. I just think this is just some of the best straight edge hardcore you could ever hear. Honestly, it's
cool artwork.
It is cool artwork, and there's a few versions. I've only got one of these. There's definitely a few out there that have got like a blue cover and a few different colours. That I would buy them.
Obviously, you would.
I would buy them if I sort of come across them. But yeah, Chokehold are just right up. You know that, how can I describe it? Maybe the beginnings of metalcore. This is like 92, 93. So this is like the very, you know, metallic hardcore before metalcore existed, but it's still very much in that hardcore punk world. But yeah, Chokehold, amazing.
There you go, nice, cool. All right, fair pick for me. So this is the most modern band for sure that I've picked. I've gone for Bootlicker. Unbelievable. As Danny said at the beginning, Canadian hardcore at the moment, it's fucking, there's so many good bands out there. Bootlicker, though, I just think fucking tearing it up, unbelievable. Fortunately, we got fortunate to see them last week, and they were amazing. Danny played with them as well. And just before that,
off the stage.
Yeah, Mark from Bootlicker, the bass player, reached out to us on the socials before they came over, actually, and said he liked the channel and they were coming over, and are we coming to the show? And we were like, yeah, we're coming to the show. Danny's playing and all that, and we had a chance to, we had a little chat to them outside and stuff, and we were fucking top dudes, amazing live. But honest to God, some of the best hardcore out there at the moment. This album's, it's fucking great. The song Two Faced and the last song on it, Jackboot.
I've got it. So this is kind of a. This is. I haven't heard the new one yet. This is kind of a dual pick because I only didn't pick them because he picked them.
Yeah.
I think the early 7 inches. I think I prefer to the album.
Oh, okay.
A bit more pissed off. Yeah.
That's amazing though.
Right. You see a band like Bootlicker, a DIY band like Bootlicker, in a small venue.
Yeah.
It's all over.
Yeah.
It's all over because what's following that?
Nothing. It's gig of the year up to now.
Seriously, like what's following that? You see a band like Bootlicker. The only kind of bands I can think of who compared to them live are maybe some of the Japanese bands we've seen over the years. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just all over when you see a band like Bootlicker and
fucking energy.
Yeah, it's just amazing, old school. And like I say, they've got that DIY thing to a T going on at the minute over there, I think. Like some of the bands like Imploders as well.
Yeah.
And bands like that. But what I liked about them as well is obviously you can be a bit biased once you meet people. There's no bias in the sense of their music's unbelievable and their stage show's unbelievable, but you can be influenced by, obviously we were speaking to them for about an hour and a half outside.
Yeah.
Obviously we were talking and You know when you know that these are my kind of cats. These is when we were talking to Mark, and I think the singer's called Louis or Lewis, maybe. I could be completely wrong. Sorry if that's wrong. But we were talking and we were saying about it, you know, being quite a rowdy show, and I was saying that when you get a bit older, I don't know what happens, but you're a little bit scared of getting hurt.
Yeah, man.
You know, when you're 21, you're fearless as fuck. I mean, some of the stuff I used to do in pits, do you know what I mean? Like now, it's just like, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I was talking to the singer, and I said, I'm worried about the nutsack, mate. You know, when people are going back. And he said to me, yeah, man. We were talking about it, and it got quite deep at one point. And he said, he said, imagine if your nutsack got caught on like a punk's chain and got ripped off. Yeah. And I was like, these guys are for me, because this is the kind of shit I talk about. Just nonsense, just complete nonsense. Yeah. And I thought, this is the kind of conversation I want with my band, you know, with people. Yeah. Just like, imagine if this happened. Class. Imagine if that happened. Talking absolute bollocks, but that's what you want. Yeah. But yeah, one of the best bands from Canada, easily without a doubt. Yeah. That was your pick, wasn't it? It was your pick. Right, so where have I put my CD? Oh yeah. So one of the things I do, and funnily enough, going back to Bootlicker, I was talking to Mark about this, that he said that when he's had a bad day or something's upset him, right? Another thing we were talking about is that he'll go on a record binge. I do the exact same thing, and what I will tend to do, and one of my little tricks that I will tend to do, is I will find out the name of an obscure record label. Yes. And I will search for releases off that record label. Yeah. And if you go on Amazon even and do that, you can find some things you would not fucking believe, honestly. I did that, and I came across this next band probably about 5 years ago. I got this CD, and I tell you what, for all the straight edge kids out there, this band should have had a lot more attention, I believe. This is a band from Vancouver, and they're called Burden. Right. Now, this is a discography, and it starts from 97 with the demo, goes up to 98 with a 7-inch, album 2001, and then the last 7-inch 2003. Now, if you look when they started in 1997 and look at the artwork and the general, and even if you listen to the demo, it'd be easy to pigeonhole them as like a Youth Crew revival band almost. But as the CD goes on, you hear their latest stuff, I would say they've got a lot more new school stuff going on. I'd say you're looking more like Trial from Seattle, very similar to Trial, or Shutdown from New York, or even Strife. That kind of stuff, like Mosh Parts kind of. Not metal as such, but like kind of new school kind of stuff going on. And I swear to God, this band are unbelievably good. If you're not just into that stuff, but if you're into, I mean, I've seen a lot of a lot of people been going on about Floor Punch a lot lately. Seems to be a lot of renewed love for Floor Punch. I tell you what, if you're into stuff like that, as a youngster, you learn, check these out, because I tell you what, you could do worse. You know, really like good lyrics, amazing sing-alongs, amazing gang vocals, fast, a bit for everyone in here. Honestly, a little bit for everyone. And if anyone's out there, if there's any chance that any members of the band follow the channel, or I know very little about this band. Obviously, you look at the flyers in there. You know, it's cool when bands do that anyway, isn't it? Where they have all the flyers. You know, they seem to like support quite a lot of the big dogs that were around back then. I know very little about them, and no one, when we put it on, no one mentioned these. No. Not one band. And I said to you, I'm picking these, and I don't know anyone. I've never seen anyone talk about them. They're great. Honestly, they're brilliant, this band. So if anyone out there knows anything about Burden from Vancouver, straight edge band, full of just straight edge anthems, pop it on the comments, because I'd love to learn a bit more about these. Burden.
Nice. Cool. All right, fourth pick for me. I've gone for Swallowing Shit. Swallowing Shit, a short-lived grindcore, I guess a bit power violence-y band from 94 to 97 from around Winnipeg. And they had a couple of line-up shifts. Most famous member being Todd Kowalski, who also plays bass now in Propagandhi. It's just straight up, I fucking love this shit. I got into these, and I've been saying this to Danny a couple of times. I thought it was him that actually, years ago, they've got like a comp called Ruin that came out in 2000, I think, of the 7 inches together. And somebody lent me it when I was about 18. I thought it was you. Clearly wasn't. Maybe it was AJ. If you're watching, AJ, let me know. But anyway, it's these two 7-inches. And honestly, just fucking unbelievably good. If you're into fast as fuck, like grindcore, great song titles, great lyrics. Like this one is my personal favourite. It's got more tunes on it as well, but amazing. Like I think together, like if you get the comp or you listen to the comp on the streaming or whatever.
Is this stuff easy to get?
I mean, I got these second hand on probably Discogs or something like that.
You got a discography?
They got it, that's what I'm saying. That Ruins is like just a CD.
I'll try and get hold of that then.
But yeah, it's just, like I say, great fucking grindcore band. And I feel like I had a conversation with Tom O'Brien about these a while ago because I know he's a fan. And he said, like, they're one of them bands where you want to tell people about them, but you also don't because you want them to be your little secret. And
I've had a few of them.
And I feel that, but I'm putting it out there now. If you're into fast, grindcore, political, hardcore, check out Swallowing Shit.
Right, my next pick, when I mentioned before about, I think, like, Canada's one of them, or seems to be one of them places from the outside looking in, that, like, the modern bands, they've really took off. As opposed to maybe their classic bands. This is my only 80s band, and they're a band that I didn't see anyone in the socials mention. Like I say, the obvious choices: SNFU, DOA, Daily Low Abortions. This is a band that I got this album doing the trick I did with the Burden one.
Mm-hmm.
So in the case of this one, I found this label called Mob Clash Records, typed it in. This came up. I liked the sound of the description. Bought it, it came, and it blew my head off, honestly. This is a band called Negative Gain, right? And they are from Toronto, and they released one album, this one right here, Back from the Dead. Now, this is so good, and not enough people know about this, and this is harps back to what I was saying in the beginning, where I said, please don't think I'm trying to be clever with my choices. I'm not trying to be, I'm picking obscure shit. Yeah. Right, like Burden, completely different thing. This is more of a crossover thing from the 80s. This is unbelievable. I recommend it to you. You've seen a copy. Mikey told you about it. Oh, sorry, Mike, you got one.
I think it was just in Guac.
But someone was selling it in Guac.
It was. No, it was Mikey was showing me like someone selling it, and he said to me, have you heard that? And I was like, no. And he went, it's fucking amazing. So I was like, all right, I'll take Mikey's recommendation. Got pretty good taste. And I think you messaged me because I think he must have told you that he'd sold it to me, and you were like, "Did you fucking get that Negative Gain vinyl? I was going to buy that." You weren't happy, like.
Yeah, so I've had this for a good number of years.
It's amazing.
And when you picked up that vinyl, I was jealous. I won't lie, because this is so good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the singer Peter Warner or Wagner died, I believe, before this got released. So he recorded it, and I think he's committed suicide actually before. But this is the only thing they've done, and it should be held up. I mean, even with that law going on, the fact that you'd think that'd elevate it. But you know what? It's crossover, but it's not what I'd call post DRI crossover. No. It's pre-crossover DRI crossover, like Deal With It, or Fair Suicidal album, that kind of stuff.
Just bordering on it,
almost. Like it's basically just traditional hardcore punk, but you can tell it's crossover still, even with the artwork. Honestly, so fast, so unbelievably good, Negative Gain. The album's called Back from the Dead. It's the only thing they released, I believe. Maybe it might be a split song somewhere as well. Again, like Burden, how these are more known. I don't know. Canadian friends, do you know about Negative Gain? I'm sure you do. Amazing.
Yeah, I'd never heard of them until last year or whenever it was when Mikey recommended them to me. Fucking amazing. Right, last pick for me. So they've been mentioned a couple of times, but they've got to come up. I picked SNFU, who are, again, legends from Edmonton. Society's no fucking use, it stands for. These are a very influential band. I know for a fact that they influenced Propagandhi. I know for a fact they influenced a lot of that Epitaph, Fat Wreck, and obviously they ended up there in the 90s after they got back together in 91. But just amazing. Early doors, very melodic-y, hardcore, fast, good. A bit more up your street maybe than the later stuff. I'm going to show this album, probably not even considered their best out of the three they put out on Epitaph, but it's the first one I got, so this got me into them. And it was specifically the song, Don't Have a Cow. But this is obviously a bit more in that skate punk, pop punky melodic kind of thing, but in general, again, just I think they're a fucking amazing, great punk band, great hardcore band. I love melodies, and it's a lot of melodies knocking about there. But yeah, again, what more can you say? They're the legendary band. Most people have heard of them, and most people know who they are.
Yeah, and they were a lot of people's choice on our thingies, weren't they? My next pick, I've gone from Vancouver again. I've gone another modern band. I've gone Chain Whip, a band I've not seen live. No. I'd love to see live, but it's just again, you know, I guess the kind of part of that whole DIY thing we've got going on with Bootlicker and Imploders and all them coming over, where it's just that old, it's you know, it's just old school hardcore. But these are probably the most ferocious sounding, I'd say, out of them bands. This album right here, 14 Lashes. I mean, pass me your one. Yeah, I don't know if there's any more colours. I do actually have a blue one as well over there, but I just pulled out the black one. I love the artwork. It's like proper 80s with the brickwork and all that, and the glove. But yeah, it's just it's the vocals are unbelievable. I love a pissed off vocal. Yeah. If it's pissed off, I like it, and I'll probably try and rip it off myself. I just love fast, pissed off hardcore with really, really pissed off vocals. And Chain Whip deliver that fully. Like I said, I've never seen them. I'd love to see them. I know they've released a few albums. This is the only one I've got. However, I have heard all the stuff they've done, and it's all great.
It's all amazing.
Yeah, so Chain Whip.
Great fucking band. Well, that's our picks. So we've already heard quite a lot of you on the socials, but come and shout in the comments which bands you'd pick and who you think we missed. And like, subscribe, go ring the bell for notifications, jump on the Instagram and the Facebook, give us some follows and likes and messages. See you next week.